Yeah. Remix. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AfterBuzz podcast. My name is Nico Adjemian, your host of the AfterBuzz, and of course, the guy that is making this possible, Buzz Adams, is here.
Hello, I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, it's called the AfterBuzz.
Yeah.
Because we do the Buzz Adams morning show.
You couldn't do the AfterBuzz without the Buzz and the Before Buzz.
And the Before Buzz, right.
Okay.
Then it would be silly. Imagine there was no Buzz Adams morning show, but we still called it the AfterBuzz.
Yeah, it may be a reality someday. Who knows? Yeah. This may be all we have left someday.
Well, it is Thursday, right after Juneteenth. It's raining outside, finally. Not that heavy. It's sprinkle.
Well, you can't even see it from here, but for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we're getting the first tropical storm of the season, I guess, for the Atlantic one that's coming to Mexico right now. I'm no meteorologist, but I think we're getting some of that wind.
Hey, have you heard that El Paso's getting another comedy club? Somebody from the sales department came in and was like, hey, can we promote? And then they said the name of the thing. And I said... This
is an interesting discussion, actually.
And I said, well, we have this long-standing relationship with the comic strip.
El Paso comic strip.
We've worked with Bart Reed.
Some
of these guys, 40 years, have known Bart. And I just don't know, what have you heard? Like, for instance, if there was first of all, I do think that there are cities the size of El Paso that support more than one comedy club.
You're absolutely right. Actually, I have so many opinions on this, and we didn't talk beforehand.
No,
you didn't ask me if this was
going to... You weren't in here. I had the conversation with Chad from the sales side.
Oh, damn, you didn't ask me, because I might not want to talk about this on the record. But I guess we are?
Look, if I ever want to go out to the comedy club, Bart always sets everything up really nice. He gives me a really great treatment there and stuff.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be here on the radio without Bart. I mean, he's So I owe Bart Reed, the owner of the comic strip, everything. I mean, I owe him almost everything.
I mean, but if you do own
a comedy career,
the only comedy club in town, any other comedy club is going to be seen as taking asses out of your seats, right?
And here's the weird thing.
But sometimes the comedy club sells out. Sometimes.
So there's and you don't go out anymore, so you wouldn't really know what you wouldn't really understand what the kind of atmosphere it's like now for shows and what the nightlife is like.
It hasn't been that long since I went out.
I went
and saw Barcena a few weeks ago.
No, I meant regularly to understand the trends. Oh. Because you wouldn't know what the trends are like and kind of what the difference between now versus 10 years ago might have been like for the El Paso comic strip. Because you're right. I think 10 years ago, that was true. Even
some comics tried to make a run, right, at setting up their own thing, and there was kind of a war.
Let me get into this. Hold on, because you're confusing a lot of things. You're going to get into the weeds. What I'm trying to say about just the marketing, the industry. The comic strip could get away with being the only place in town to do professional comedy because that's where everybody went to go find professional. That you had that name recognition, right?
Okay.
And that was the facility that had the best quality. But in the last year to 2 years, there have been local comics and newer comics too, who just started maybe a couple years ago, who have put on shows in town at different venues that have large stages, like Elton's, when it was open, bringing big name comics like Ken Flores, Rene Vaca, and again, you wouldn't know these people exactly.
But big names, right?
Right. Ken Flores is going to be actually at the comic strip next month, or maybe this, I'm not sure when. But at the time, these are viral comedians, guys that are all over Instagram, getting hundreds of thousands of followers, that their entire career is now based off of them getting booked from that. And so big that they were included in the Netflix's. I mean, when you have a big enough social following, agents and managers start to call you. So that you can have an entire booked career based on.
You're explaining it to me, but I'm not sure what you're explaining.
Okay. I was getting on the point that they had sold out shows with these guys because they and nobody, you didn't know about it. You didn't hear about it. You can have a sold out comedy show in El Paso now, and 90% of the town doesn't need to know about it in the marketing. You just need to find that niche of people.
You target the people
who are
really
fans.
want to see, who are fans and wouldn't miss whoever this comedian
probably was. And through social media,
now, are they real touring comics, or are they only famous through social media?
That's what I was trying to explain to you. And then when you was like, I kind of get, no, these are guys that are professionals in LA or this or that, but they're getting booked not by having traditional agents. You know, Bart would gets all these guys booked there through their agents and stuff. Yeah. He doesn't have their individual numbers. Some of them he does, but for the most part, the big name acts that he brings, it's agents, professionals. Those are the gatekeepers for how you get these people. Now you don't need that.
Okay.
These people have their own following. They're professionals, and like I said, packed out shows. Now when that's the case in 2024, does Bart need to be worried about competition? Because it seems like other people can get away with packed ass shows and not even have to let the rest of the city know about it. So does Bart need to worry as much?
Are you going to answer that question?
Well, like you said, when you have that dominance for that many years over something, and here's the way that comedy clubs in other cities work is you need local comedians who are going to be the people who host and who do the showcases and who you are developing.
Now, that's the case in Dallas.
Yes.
As well as Chicago.
I think the comic strip's the only one who does not work with locals.
The comic strip?
Yes.
The comic strip always has locals as the MC.
And it's very difficult to even get that position because there's only a couple of us that rotate. And
I'd say there's a dozen, right?
Nope. 4, 5, maybe.
Really?
Yeah. And
so every fourth week it's
But my point is Bart doesn't have an open mic. He doesn't like to do that. He doesn't want to really see these like any new comics. He doesn't want to add to the lineup. He doesn't want to work with locals. Wow. And I'm not saying like I said earlier.
I mean, it sounds kind of like shots fired here.
No, he would tell you this.
Oh, okay.
He would say this. I mean, this is like his standing policy. I'm just saying it's a perspective he can get away with by being the only comedy club.
Okay. Anyway, somebody just walked in about 20 minutes before
that's
you
why
did
I have a lot to say about this
club.
because he hasn't been working with, and he doesn't need to, right? It's not like he needs to work with the locals because
he runs a very professional business.
Business.
Very, very
well,
high
that's my
level
point.
Professional.
He says, I run a professional comedy club and I have a standard. I don't need to incorporate things that don't fit my standard. And that's true. But now that there's another club,
would you work there?
I've gotten into conversations with this with several other people. Before I say that, now that there's another club, all the local guys are flocking to this new club. And I say club mildly because they do only 2 shows a week, or 2 days, I should say. Friday.
Are we talking about the same
place?
place?
Yes, I know it's exactly the same place, and
it's got waffles.
Yes,
right?
It's a chicken and waffle place. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It does
God
only
damn, chicken and waffles sounds so good right now.
It only does 2 shows, Friday and Saturday. Well, 2 on 2, so that's a 4 show.
Wait, 2 on when?
2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. Okay. So that's 4 shows per week. So you got to think as a headliner, is this going to be worth it? And he does have a decent lineup of comics that are coming through.
Well, Bart does 3 days a week.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So 4 days. Okay.
That makes it a professional comedy club.
All right.
Because that's its full-time thing.
Yeah. And then they're dark Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Right.
Got it.
Aside from special events. But my point is, to make it as a comedy club, it's a very hard industry to make it. And
I can imagine.
And the reason I'm not sure whether I'm going to perform at this new place or not is because I don't know if it's going to survive that long.
Would it compromise your relationship with the standalone club?
It could, yeah. I know
then
that
all these guys that are flocking to it, aren't they worried about the same thing?
Not really, because they're not getting opportunities to perform at the comic strip already.
They're not in the good graces like you are.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm not sure. I might be able to perform and him not care about it. I would ask him, or at least let him know. So I have a lot. People have been trying to do other professional comedy in El Paso aside from Bart's for years now. You brought up that war that happened like 10 years ago. I know. But
I only observed it from the outside, looking in, but I would see it play out on Facebook of all places.
I know. Isn't it crazy? Like drama. Yeah. Drama.
Yeah. A lot of drama. Comedy and drama.
But
it's a smiling mask and a frowning mask.
This new place has been in the works for kind of like 4 years.
Is it a legit setup for a comedy club?
It doesn't have a spotlight.
It doesn't have a spotlight.
No, it has a stage with a painted background.
Yeah, how much is the spotlight? A couple $100.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
But it has a stage that's at a higher level than the audience.
Yes.
Okay. Because I go to some places, it's like, well, the comedian is just like standing in the room, but he's not
elevated. Right.
Places that aren't made for it, right?
Exactly. And so we'll see. We'll see if it can sustain itself,
But it is definitely marketing itself as a comedy club 2 nights a week.
Yes. So
when Chad came in here, the AE, he's like, and they're bringing in this comic from L.A., Adam Dominguez. No, listen. Adam's great.
Adam's one of my best friends.
Adam's great. Adam's a definite success story, or at least on the cusp of
definitely
being a success story.
One of my best friends. I started with him.
A good, solid comic, but yeah.
And that's why it's funny, because Chad's acting as if we wouldn't know who that was.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to ask you.
Well, and that's why Adam is doing that place, because
so he was.
Adam had a chance to.
I would have Adam in any time. He's fun to talk to, but I don't know what I'm getting myself into here.
Adam had a chance to feature at the El Paso comic strip.
So he would be okay. Usually, there's an MC.
Feature and then a headliner.
It's a
three-man show.
Is a touring professional.
Also,
usually,
yeah.
Okay.
And Bart doesn't feature locals. Like, he will never usually feature any local, except there's 2 that does. Like Jibs, he'll feature, and Anthony Bettis in a pinch. Those are the guys that will help. But because
both a high level,
he wants it to be professionals only.
I got it.
So Adam was like, you know what? I'm in Vegas. I have tons of fans in El Paso still and friends. I could pack out a place. Please let me feature when I'm coming in with Kool-Aid. I don't know who he was coming in with. And Bart wouldn't do it.
But Kool-Aid's headlined before.
And he was the headline, and he wanted Adam to be his
feature.
To be his feature.
Oh, but
yeah, so it took a lot of I don't know if he got to do it that one, but Adam did eventually feature. But so Adam's getting booked at this new place booked himself at this new place because he's not worried about pissing off Bart, because he feels like he's probably not going to headline there. So
okay,
right.
All right.
So there's all these weird little things to consider and feel like
that's why I could not give an answer. It's
I know,
let
right?
me talk to some people first and find. Let me gauge the room, so to speak.
Right, and this kind of derailed the whole plan for my thing today.
Sorry, man.
No worries. I'm actually glad to get it out off my chest. Yeah, because that was all the conversation was between me, Iggy, Anthony, and Bunchy on the road.
To Sierra
Blanca was just talking about this new club,
so,
and
are you going to be able to get chicken and waffles all the other days of the week?
Yes. Okay. See, that's how I think they're going to try and manage keeping it afloat is by making sure that it's doing something else.
Let me ask you a question. Are there any comedy clubs that aren't New York, LA, or Chicago that are known for their food as well?
Yeah.
It always seems like most of the comedy clubs I've ever been to, the food is definitely an afterthought.
No, there are definitely places where they take a lot of pride in the food aspect of the club. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So they'll be known for their wings or this or that.
Wings.
I don't know what I mean. They might have. I don't know exactly.
Well, they're not going to serve a steak or a 4-course meal or anything I wonder if there are any comedy clubs you get
You know,
sushi.
that was the concept that Bart. No, I always confuse you and Bart because you're both.
I don't think either of us appreciate it.
I have a picture of Bart pretending to kiss you on the cheek, and you look like brothers. Like you have the same oblong face and round bodies. I love you both.
And sometimes I wear glasses, and then people really mistake me
I
for
know
Bart.
it's hilarious. What were you talking about? Oh, Bart's concept on the Gateway, I think was
it was going to be a nice restaurant. That's right.
It was
and
nice.
It was,
yeah,
but nobody ate there.
Yeah, they didn't really think about it.
Oh, it's the comedy club. Oh yeah, no, he had a really, really good chef, like a highly thought of chef,
right?
That was working there.
Did you have Dave Chappelle in when he came?
No, he came in for a one night only, like the very first year that
was
Chappelle's show
04.
was on. It was shortly after Chappelle's show was on.
I remember because not only was I a listener of the Buzz Downs morning show growing up in El Paso, but also just hearing about all the comics that came through the town. I always knew about Bart Reed's comic strip. I used to ask my mom if we could go back. I think they were more strict about age back then, but I guess it's like a bar.
You know, there was such a demand for comedy in El Paso when I first moved here in '92, and it was still this way for a year or so after that. There were two comic strips. There was the one on North Mesa
and the one by Airport,
and the one in the
Marriott or
the Marriott or the Radisson. Yeah. And so he would have two touring comics that he paid work in one place, and two that he were playing the other place.
That's why a second comedy club probably wouldn't be that big of an issue if you just marketed. Each one did their marketing, in a certain way.
All right. Okay.
So it will. But okay, my point again.
Maybe I
want to reiterate.
I did want to get a read on the room, but
I don't know if it's going to last because this has been planned for 4 years, and the guy who's doing it now is working with a partner, a comic from Las Cruces, to get one on the east side started. And Bart was already in attack mode about to. But nobody knows how to do it. Comedy clubs are so hard. They didn't get the right zoning right, and they were trying to build the stage stuff inside, and they couldn't. They're like, no, you can't build this here. It was going to be.
You mean the waffle place?
No, it was going to be another thing, and
they just
it just got fucked. The whole thing, but they promoted it like it was going to be this thing, and telling all the locals, get ready for this thing that's going to happen. And they got the website, they got the Facebook page ready, and then
did anybody burn their bridges and then find out? Oh shit, they're not even gonna build it.
Definitely. So that's why I'm super skeptical.
Nobody here is into burning bridges.
No,
I can tell you that.
So I'm going to see, like, how is this going to go? Is this going to be able to make it?
Okay.
And then there was this one place where a guy that was from here moved back to Albuquerque. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but New Mexico doesn't have a professional. Okay, New Mexico doesn't have a big professional stand-up comedy club.
Do they have a full-time dedicated comedy club?
They have
that's open on the weekends, and they have comedy, and they'll bring.
They have a place that's just like open on the weekends, like 2 nights, but they don't have a dedicated comedy club like a last.
So that's
like
the
a last
standard is that you go Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Well, that's your
Sunday.
whole thing, yeah. The reason that you're in that place should be for the comedy.
Bart used to be open Tuesday through Sunday.
Tuesday, yeah, I remember those were great because as a stand-up, you would get like 8 performances, boom, 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 right back in a row, and it was great practice. Anyways, my point is that in New Mexico there is a liquor license law that I guess they cap liquor licenses in New Mexico, so there's only a set number, and if that set number, if they're all being used, you can't get one, and so they get traded when the businesses close or this or that, and they go for millions of dollars. And it's very expensive to start a business with a liquor license in New Mexico because of that. And so that's why there is no dedicated comedy club with there's a Quesadas. Do you know who was the guy in Breaking Bad?
Bryan Cranston.
No, Stephen Michael Quesada.
Oh, okay.
Do you know him, the comic? Michael Stephen Quesada? Or?
I had heard that there was a comic who was in Breaking Bad.
Yes, that's him. And he opened a comedy club called Quesadas in a casino in Albuquerque.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, casino.
Right. So
because you can absorb that cost, instead of, if you're only going to be open 2 days a week, you got to be making money those other days somehow, right? Unless it's in a casino.
So there was a guy from El Paso who used to go to the comic strip, and he went and said, I'm going to do a comedy club. Tries to go to Albuquerque and sets it all up, actually gets the space. Got a lineup of Jibs was booked there. Me and Jibs were supposed to go the weekend. It finally closed down, which was only a month after it opened, by the way.
A month.
But Willie was booked there. So he had the comics.
And they didn't get their licenses right? He didn't get a liquor license?
Something. I don't know what. But the first few shows, the pictures looked like they were great shows. Closes after a month. Owes all these comics a bunch of money.
No, I mean, I feel bad
right.
for whoever the guy was. But
and so it's just so much harder to put these things on than people think. And I'm very curious and cautiously watching what's going to happen with this new comic club.
All right.
But no, I don't want to burn bridges with Bart, and I probably will have to talk to him about. I'm going to have to let him know. We talked about you in the podcast.
I wanted to ask you, have you heard of this thing that somebody just brought up to me?
Right.
That's all I was asking.
He is the standard of professional stand-up comedy, though.
Bart.
Yeah, and the club. You know.
Oh, agreed, 100%.
You know, he says he taught you how to talk to comedians. He's like, you gotta joke with them. You gotta act normal.
Sure. Yes, he did.
Do you feel like you were comfortable around stand-ups before he started bringing him around?
No, I think Had you
ever been to a comedy show, like in Oklahoma or anything like that?
I've been to a couple comedy shows before. Sure.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it's a funny brag.
Okay.
Anyways, I owe him everything.
Yeah, he probably gave me some advice along the way. He probably did it several times, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sure.
Do you know he was on an episode of Titus?
Yeah. He got to be the guy who tackles him on an airplane.
An airplane. Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, Chris set it up for him.
And then Richard Hawkins...
It was a writer for
the show, and I got to open for
Robert.
I'm sorry, I got to open for Robert before.
Yeah. Robert's great comment.
I think he's still doing it. God, I could talk about comedy forever. This was not what I was going to talk about. Something about words or etymology, maybe.
The study of bugs?
Actually, I want to talk about video games. I'm playing this video because you're playing this stupid. What is it called?
Dude, I don't even want to give it. I don't want to. It would be like me going out and recommending crack cocaine to school children. I don't want to get anybody else hooked the way I am. I wouldn't wish this. My life has been like Requiem for a Dream since I found this fucking mobile game. God. It's like I'm itching right now because I want to go back and try and clear that level.
I'm playing one called Bit Life, and it's like that video game in Rick and Morty called Roy. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
It's okay, so people who don't know Roy, it's kind of like The Sims, except if he lives 70 years, your experience is 70 years long living this guy's life. Having kids.
Yes.
Going to work.
Yes.
Retiring.
Yes.
Dying.
That's exactly what this game is, but in like a text format. Like it reads out your life story and you get to make decisions. And you live for years, and you can go to jail, become a businessman, you can become a spy, you can have tons of children, you can get...
Oh, I play that game. It's called
Life. I know.
Right.
I've gone through so many generations, 500 years of one family in this. And I think, am I playing Roy right now? Maybe I should just live. And then it makes me think about making my own decisions in life. Like, ooh, I should make better decisions in my real life, just like this.
Has the tickets please guy showed up yet?
All right, we got to get to a meeting. That's going to do it for today's episode of the AfterBuzz. Thanks for listening. Don't forget us every Tuesday and Thursday.
Thrown a monkey wrench into everything.
No, I think it was still a good conversation.
Okay. What were you going to say every Tuesday and Thursday, right?
Yeah, listen.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Hit that like button.
Smash it.
Pound it. All right, talk to you next time.